What's up, people? Just wanted to tell a story about us. Like I said in some of my videos, we live in a cosmic shooting gallery. We're threatened at all times from meteorites and all that good stuff. And I think we've had quite a few devastating impacts over the years, and people have left stuff behind, knowledge for mankind. But I just want to tell a real quick story, maybe. Let's see here. Covered some of this stuff before. This is the Earth. Hopefully it's a sphere. This is something like Africa, and there's the rest of the land masses up here. Perhaps we all came out of here, okay, and then we started spreading across the globe. But here's one thing for sure: we were all trying to thrive. We were trying to live, and to live, you need fertility. And most of us settled by rivers, streams, the edges of water, because we can fish. But all the animals on the planet, they migrate. Well, not all, but the majority of the mammals, the fish in the sea, the mammals in the sea, they migrate, and they have something in their brain called magnetite, which is a very highly magnetic substance. And some of the animals have in their eyes what they call, I think it's crypto, maybe there's no H there, cryptochrome proteins. And it's like you have this X-ray vision or something, I don't know. But you can see the grid of the Earth, magnetic grid, as like a compass through your eyes. Of course, we can feel it. We all feel that energy shoot through our bodies when the north winds are blowing. But here's what I think. The Earth has this magnetic shield around it from its toroidal spin, gyroscopic precession, and this iron core. Iron's cool because all the iron came from outer space. When you're cooking in an iron skillet, just think about the fact that you're cooking up your eggs or your bacon or your whatever you're frying up in a meteorite that came in from outer space. So the Earth has this magnetic shield around it, okay? And not all people were migratory. A lot of people just settled by coastlines and stuff like that. But over thousands of years, I think the species, our natural ability, just like all mammals can tune into the Earth, I think we were tuning into this bubble that protects us, okay? And what we would do is we'd find these magnetic anomaly spots that just pop up here and there. Some call it the grid, crash consciousness grid, all these other things. It's just where the electromagnetic, there's these vortexes. There's these vortexes that come out of the ground where the electromagnetic dynamics are occurring. Now, we're just this little tiny speck, of course. Here's us, and here's the sun. We got the shield kind of doing this thing to protect us, and it kind of jellyfishes out like that. But there's an interesting phenomenon that occurs when we're spinning around here, and that shield comes roaring back to protect us from the sun, and cosmic debris, and all that stuff. And birds, bees, migratory animals, they tap into it to find the new grazing grounds and fertility zones. It's one, to live by the ocean is one thing. So I think people who are more drawn in towards land, they needed to find these places too. And eventually we started using our bodies, and maybe we recognized the animals' patterns, and we were following the birds and the bees around. But we would settle in these places where the subtle energy was already coming out of the ground. And we have trees, hills over here. This is a terrible drawing, mountain ranges. And let's just say, here's the sunrise. Somebody stumbles across this particular place. The grass is really green, and there's a particular type of geology under the earth where it's giving off all this excessive energy. And they'll notice it right before the sun rises. It's called Pt.1 Electromagnetic Induction. It's usually when we're sleeping and dreaming and all this stuff. But when the earth is rolling towards the sun, it comes roaring back through the ground. So we would go to look for these fertility zones, lands of milk, where the cattle roam and the mammals graze, and the honey, where the bees go to pollinate all the flowers. So the land of the milk and honey. And these were sacred, special places. Okay. And for example, like Tesla knew, actually the T in science, that stands for electromagnetic induction, was because of this guy right here. He knew all about it. He'd take a light bulb and he'd screw that light bulb into a rock, a slab of granite or something up in Soda Springs, and that sucker would light up. So a long time ago, and it says that he was born during an electrical storm too, which is really cool. So imagine a long time ago, people were finding this. And one of my theories is how perhaps we started following the animals, okay? And then we started finding sacraments. From the cow's dung, you get mushrooms, okay? From the sacred trees, from the sacred trees to the cow's dung, to the elephant's dung, Ganesh, Krishna's cow. This is starting to become very evident. You can grow these in caves, and get these out of the horse chambers and Solomon's temples and all that good stuff. So this is your Easter egg. This is usually it's called the atom or the phallic symbol. It's also called, let's call it Thor's hammer. Vikings used to get a concoction of these, and the shamans, priest class, whatever, the medicine men, the people that were leading us around when we were nomadic, these guys were masters of this stuff. They'd go out and pick these for us. You'll see these depictions of fountains outside of churches nowadays with water shooting out, the waters of life out of this little pine cone up here. These are 3. Shamans said to take these in doses of 3 or 5. That's why you'll see 3 and 5, and 1 for fountains. So this is the cup of the Grail. Of course, these would collect morning dew, and in the Amanita, Mascarias, these would turn blood red. And this is the round table. Actually, this would be before that. I messed up. This comes after. This is the round table. This is also the umbrella. Sometimes you see it with Krishna. When you see the little Greeks holding these mushrooms, the Elysians, or the instruments of passion on the right-hand side of Christ. I mean, it's just starting to become overwhelming that mycology has had a major influence on all the world's religions. Even Muhammad was having seizures and sweats when he was having his visions. But so some of those would give you. Now remember, we're going to go back to the Earth spinning in this electromagnetic shield. Normally, at 3:30 in the morning, roughly, that's invariant. It's called the witching hour, or geologist. Wow. Moment. We're usually sleeping and dreaming, rapid eye movement, and there's something called DMT, which can be found in many of those ornaments, of those Christmas bulbs that you dangle on your trees. Now, the amanitas will give you more of an out-of-body experience. So you have the proverbial out-of-body experience, but DMT is that spirit molecule that supposedly brings you in and out of consciousness and stuff in the mother's womb, makes you dream and sleep at night, and supposedly when we die, that third eye is going to open up. That's the third eye. Now, a lot of monks would go out and keep themselves up late at night to use the endogenous DMT in our body to practice what I call the or what's called the axis mundi, where you stare at the northern star, and then you start to get a spiral going around the others just by sitting here by yourself and meditating, staring off into the northern star. And this is where I believe that we started to develop the whole procession of the equinox. I'm not going to write that down, but the whole Platonic year and the constellations is really from taking these things and studying deeply, maybe using the endogenous tryptamines or eating that fruit from the body of the Christmas tree or out of the cattle's dung or whatever it might be. But we also, let's get back to when you slow down, when you slow yourself down on these psychedelic drugs, or you just use the endogenous drugs through meditation, you'll notice you start to see patterns, and what could only be described in modern terms as geometric patterns in your vision when your eyes are closed, also when they're open. And I think because behind our eyes, again, we can draw that Eye of Horus thing. I don't know if I'm drawing it right, but behind our eyes we have that somatic receptors, which is geometric wave phenomena, somatics that receive the light in the world around us and all this stuff. And I think that we can perhaps preternaturally dilate our eyes and see more of the light spectrum, because I've seen some pretty wild stuff. And I've also seen over the landscape, way up on a hillside, right before the sun was coming up, I saw this unbelievable grid in the sky, and the people below had these energy, rainbow colors all around the people. Okay. And inside this little vortex was little strings that went up into this pattern, which almost looked like the Aurora Borealis, but more structured, but wavy. And I was up really late and full of tryptamines when I saw that. But the erector pili muscles were standing up. You know, the hair on the back of your neck and all that stuff. And every time I touched something, the geometry that I would see with my eyes closed would change. It was really cool. But seeing subtle energy everywhere and picking it up with your body like a tool and perhaps using cryptochrome proteins to tap into the Earth's grid like the other mammals do to navigate, and using that magnetite in our third eye. They would find these special places and they would erect. First, they would just build an altar, perhaps out of a slab of granite or something that's electromagnetic conductive. But I believe that after a while, some of these ancient people learned how to build structures that would amplify the natural conductivity out of the ground. Okay. And they would find places where the water was running under the ground. Like if you look in South America, where you do find these temples and stuff, they have these, what do you call them? Cenotes, these big holes, and there's vast water running underneath them. And the sunlight would come in and cause induction, and that induction would want to release through the granite and the rock. And anywhere this stuff is coming out of the ground, it's going to be fertile, and it's going to fight off free radicals. It's almost like let's say the Earth already has its sphere, its protection, okay, and we'd come along and build a little structure to make another little bubble, okay, and we'd come over here and build one, and we'd amplify the Earth's magnetic grid, is basically what I'm trying to say. And perhaps these were fertile zones, and the soil would, we didn't know how to rotate crops back then like we do today. And I think this was a way to keep civilization in one spot instead of constantly roaming around and finding new land. You could manipulate the rivers, like a beaver. I'm sure we watched and we built aqueducts and all the stuff like we're doing here in the United States. But I think this knowledge right here is kind of what Tesla wanted to do when he built that gigantic mushroom tower, and he wanted to send out energy across the globe. If you look at a mushroom through a Kirlian photography, it looks just like Tesla's tower. It's pretty freaking cool. But so when at night, when we're supposed to be dreaming and our bodies are releasing those endogenous things, the psychedelics, there were shamans picking stuff that had it in there to amplify their body during the day, and perhaps find these places. And even beyond just finding these places and amplifying the ground, building altars, and they believe this energy is, they were amplifying this energy, and the energy that comes out coincidentally rises up like that, just like a serpentine. Oops, get rid of my little head. Just like that Kundalini energy, and then it umbrellas out, just like the caduceus. You know what I mean? The symbol for the caduceus, by the way, is a symbol for that Kundalini energy that rises up our spine. Okay, it's masculine, feminine energy balancing the hemispheres of the brain so that you can think properly, and so that you get symbols, words, math, music, space, time, all that good stuff. And it also represents the mushroom and how the mushroom grows and blossoms from that cosmic egg. And of course, who's looking out over that cosmic egg but the Father's house, Opitius, the 13th sign, who carries the serpent. Okay, the cosmic egg in this case is the Earth and the galactic center and all that stuff, and you and the mushroom and the energy that comes out of it. So yeah, when I'm talking about caduceus, it's that serpent on the staff that I think Moses says you have to lift the serpent to man. I'm not going to quote Bible verses right now, I'll just mess them up. But there's plenty in all the books that teach us about this stuff. I've probably been rambling for a while. It's going to take me a while to upload that. That's a 20-minute video. But, yeah, let's get back in touch with the earth and in tune with the earth. That energy that comes up to the ground is nothing more than frequency. Energy, frequency, and vibration. Good vibes, people. One love. Please. Peace. Be blessed.